These are all indications that work has been done on it. Somebody purchasing the car would wonder, why is that like that?
Right.
And every time somebody buying a car says, why is that like that? You're getting less money. Why are you losing value?
Right.
Why are you have an insurance policy? They paid to fix your car. It should be put to pre-loss condition. Pre-loss condition didn't have all these Kappa stickers all over.
That's true.
And they did harm to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Reamer. That's Robert Grieve, and we are, as always, ever so thankful that you've taken time out of your day to join us for ours. Now, if this is Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. here in the Mountain Standard Time, then we encourage you to chat it up with us live by hitting the chat tab.
Talk to us.
That's it.
Talk to us.
Right there on YouTube. And if you are watching this at a later point in time, you can always drop us a comment. We love to read those and respond when we can.
And so do other people watching the video that read those comments. You're not only talking to us, you're talking to others as well.
That's exactly right. So with that being said, Rob, I wish you a happy Saturday.
My dear friends, thanks again for tuning in. Hope we have something of value for you today.
Yeah, we certainly have something for you today, and we think it's valuable. We'll let you decide at the end. But Rob, this
go ahead and give us a thumbs up right now.
Oh yeah, definitely give the thumbs up. That helps the YouTube algorithm. And while you're at it, don't forget to click the little subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. And it says the analytics tells us that there's a good percentage, more than 50%. Who watch these videos but haven't hit the subscribe button yet.
Can't be true.
Come on now.
Somebody's lying.
It's free. All right. Rob, today this gets filed under another episode of Buyer Beware. We have talked about Buyer Beware before. We have talked about the devil's in the details. And in this case, both are true. What have you got for us today?
Well, we're going to take a look at a 2022 Mazda 3.
Okay.
And 2022 is not necessarily brand new because 23s are on the road, 24s are coming.
It's pretty new.
But it's basically a brand new car.
Yeah.
It's got less than 20,000 miles on it. So, unfortunately, the person that owns it had a little bump in the road, so to speak, and it needed to get repaired.
Okay.
So why don't we just bring up the picture of it?
There it is.
And car looks beautiful.
It's very nice.
And the shop that did this, which is a very large name.
Big box.
Yeah. Big box type of facility. They got one badass painter.
Okay, so
that paint job on there is very, very difficult. Mazda really put it to the painters with this paint job.
I see, that color in particular.
This color.
Okay.
And my hat's off to the painter that painted this. However, the color sand and polisher, or the next step that it would go to after paint, those people need a little more help.
Okay.
So let's just take a quick peek.
Yeah.
And I always start by walking around the car and, what do you see? And the car looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But when you look closer at it...
Is that a dent?
No, this is dirt in the paint.
Oh.
And that happens. Nobody in the aftermarket has paint booths like the manufacturers of the cars.
They're not sterile,
yeah.
as sterile as possible.
It's just impossible
Sure.
to have that kind of technology, in a neighborhood, so to speak.
So,
that has to be part of a gigantic complex.
So dirt happens.
Dirt happens.
Okay.
But the fix of it is We sand the dirt with some very, very fine sandpaper,
Okay.
and we polish it, and it goes away.
Oh, okay.
So when you see this, next picture again,
Oh, yeah.
it's just got dirt in it.
Uh-huh.
So the shop, I believe, and it's the philosophy that I work with,
Okay.
has an obligation, first and foremost, to, when they do a repair, protect the occupants of the vehicle.
Safety-wise.
Safety.
Yeah, sure.
Every step of the repair has to be based around the safety of when you give it back to the consumer.
Sure.
I believe they also have an obligation to retain as much value in that vehicle for you as possible.
Yeah, when a vehicle is damaged, and repaired, there will always be an intrinsic loss of value,
Even if it's perfect.
right? Even if the repair is perfect and it goes back, showroom quality, because it was in an accident.
It'll land up on Carfax or whatever the case may be. But we don't have, as a shop, we shouldn't be adding to that
Right.
loss of value.
Right.
So and the reason I say that is that the dirt and the paint here may not be a big deal, and it's not going to kill anybody. But if you go to trade this vehicle in, the place that you're trading it into is going to see it, and you're going to get less money.
Yeah. Because they're
And
trained to look for such things.
they look for exactly these things.
Yes. Okay.
So, moving on, decided to open up the hood.
Yep.
So when you open up the hood, you grab the prop. Some hoods just open and stay open by themselves.
Sure.
Some of them you have to get a prop rod and put it up in there.
Yeah.
Here you're seeing a picture of the prop rod where it lays,
Yeah.
and there's a rectangle. Maybe
Yeah.
you can put a circle around that.
Yep.
There should be a clip there that the prop rod sits into. Right now it's just swinging around while you're driving, and there's a clip that thing is supposed to go into that is not there.
Gotcha.
That would be another red flag for somebody
Somebody's
wanting to
been
purchase
doing
that
something
car.
underneath the hood
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So there it is with the hood open and the prop rod up into the hood.
Yeah.
And again, looks pretty good.
Right.
But I noticed a few things that I want to just walk people through.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing if you're buying a used car as if you're having the car repaired. You want to open it up and just make sure everything's in order.
Sure.
And when you start to see things that aren't in order, you got to start to ask yourself some questions. Should I pick up this vehicle? Should I purchase this vehicle?
Or should I run like hell?
Yeah. And this is you looking at it. If you're trading it in or selling it to somebody else, they're going to be doing exactly the same thing.
Sure.
So let's take a little closer look.
Yeah, you said you found a few things.
I found a few things.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you
Nothing mission critical.
mark things up much?
Yeah. But there's some stuff that I want to walk you through that you need to look for if your vehicle's been repaired or you're buying a used vehicle. These are all things.
Yeah.
Because this person could, put this car on the market, today,
Right.
and somebody will come and look at it. If that somebody's you, I want you to look for these things because they're going to tell you a story.
Okay.
So let's start with the first one. You see these green marks.
I do.
All right. This is a green pen that we use in the collision industry to mark damage for photos to send to insurance companies or to let the technician know or somebody, we have to pay attention to these areas.
Okay.
They didn't take them off the car.
Hmm.
So somebody in the used car world purchasing this car is going to say,
It's been to the shop.
it's been to the shop and I'm not even certain that all this has been repaired because why are the marks still there?
Right.
So there's a red flag right there. I mean, it doesn't take much to look underneath the hood and see those types of things.
Right.
So also in this picture, we have some fasteners, which we're going to talk about later.
Okay.
that I just want you to take notice now on this black cover.
Uh-huh.
So, moving on. This is the hood hinge on the passenger side, the top part that attaches to the hood.
Yep.
And you see the bolts are silver, and they've got some paint misted on them. How that happened, I'm not exactly sure. But should they be painted or should they be not painted is the question.
Mm-hmm.
So, I always like to go to the other side.
Yeah.
What's the other side look like? Well,
Those are completely painted.
they're painted.
And they draw no attention.
Exactly. But it draws even more attention when you have ones that aren't painted and ones that are painted.
Yes.
Okay, what happened here? Why is that this way?
Sing it with me. One of these is not like the other.
Yeah, one of these is not like the other. So also in this picture, you'll notice the paint isn't all the way around this hole.
Yes.
That there's a mark.
Mm-hmm.
That mark is from the paint department hanging this hood on a stand, and then they paint the back side, and then they paint the front side. Well, where that hook attaches it is obviously you can't paint there.
Right.
We usually try to find a different place so that doesn't happen. But if you see a mark like that, it generally means it's been replaced or at least repainted.
Gotcha.
So going to the where the hood hinges mount to the body,
Yep.
couple things here. You see they're painted,
Yeah.
but you also see marks on them. And those marks are from a wrench.
This hood's been taken off.
So you know it's been taken off and moved.
Mm-hmm.
Something to watch for, because why was it moved?
Right.
So let's take a look at the other side, and they're not painted.
Huh.
So the top bolts on the hood on the other side aren't painted, but this side are painted, and then the bottom side
Are painted.
in reverse.
Yeah. Okay.
Things that make you go,
Yeah. No kidding.
So, we've talked about this many times.
I recognize that label.
If you look, and I didn't go through any kind of hijinks to take this picture. I just looked into the engine compartment, and that is a Kappa sticker. Kappa being an aftermarket part. It's a certified aftermarket part, not a Mazda part. Car was not made. This part was made for this car, but not made for this car by Mazda.
Yeah.
And
it could have
there's
been
the
made,
evidence right there.
It could have been made for multiple models, right? I mean,
Years, all the
sometimes
rest
they
of
do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So, if I'm a used car guy, I know this car has been in a wreck.
Sure.
How bad is the wreck? I don't know that, but I know they cared enough to do
The very least.
the very least and put this Kappa part in there instead of the manufacturer part.
Got it.
And it's screaming at you. That's what we did.
Take money off.
Yeah. And
For
you're going to
that.
get less money for the car because of that sticker.
Yep.
And then if we look down at the by the fan shroud,
Yep.
where the radiator is, the lower shield is also clearly a Kappa part and not a Mazda part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to cost you money.
Yep.
That's going to cost you money.
Let's take a moment just to talk about that for just a second, because what drives a body shop to prefer using a Kappa certified or a Kappa, an aftermarket part, over an OEM?
An insurance company generally. They're not looking out for the consumer putting these parts on. They're
Right.
looking out for, maybe they make more money on these parts than they would if it was a Mazda part. They're looking out for everybody but you, the consumer, by putting these parts on the car. So,
Okay.
I also looked down into the wheel well area, just looking down from the engine compartment down into the wheel well area, and there's a brand new clip sitting down. It's just sitting there. It's somebody dropped it down there and didn't go get it, and I think we'll find a useful place for it later on in the video. But that's going to create a rattle and all the rest of this.
Sure.
Wires that haven't been secured properly. This has a clip that is supposed to get clipped into someplace to secure that wire so it's not dangling.
Doesn't get involved in the moving parts.
It is not.
Yeah.
And, these are all indications that work has been done on it. Somebody purchasing the car would wonder, why is that like that?
Right.
And every time somebody buying a car says, why is that like that? You're getting less money. Again, we haven't taken anything apart. All we did was open the hood.
Yeah.
Here, and we're going to get a little closer in the next picture, you see your air conditioning lines.
Right.
And they have valves on the top of them, high and low side, high pressure, low pressure side.
Those silver.
Yep. So let's just
nozzles.
go right to,
oh, yeah.
so you can see.
Sure.
And that's where you would put the Freon in, or whatever
Coolant.
that particular vehicle
Yeah.
uses. Lots of different names for those these days. But then there's a black cap that goes on top of those that gets screwed on. You can see the threads.
Yeah.
And that port needs to be kept clean, because if you go to add Freon with the machine,
Right.
and there's dirt in there, as soon as the machine connects to it, it's going to push a valve down, and that dirt's going to go into the system.
Right.
You cannot have contamination in these systems. That's why they have the black caps that go on top of them.
Gotcha.
All right, so here's the other one, no black cap. You can see it threads on there. But I was a lucky guy.
You were lucky?
Yes, I was lucky, because I looked right on the fan shroud, and there is the high pressure cap just sitting there.
Oh. All right.
So I was able to put that on for the guest.
That was very nice of you.
Yes.
I guess the guest was lucky.
Yes. Well, I got even a little luckier, because I found the other one, the low pressure line. See, this has got an H for a high pressure line.
Yeah.
The other one's got an L for the low pressure. Let's see, where did I find that? Oh,
Where is that?
that's under the car in an engine shield, getting pretty close to falling out.
They say even a blind squirrel finds a nut once or twice.
Yeah, well, there it is.
All
So
right.
I was able to retrieve that, put that on there. Naturally, there's another clip sitting there that should be attaching something else along the way.
Huh.
Again, nothing critical, but the devil's in the details,
That's the truth.
and these details matter. So going back to where the AC line is, we notice that the cap, and we'll need to put a circle around that if we could.
Sure.
The cap for the radiator overflow bottle is not secured, and is also not routed properly. So let's go to this picture. You'll see again, it is not secured, and the hose that's going to that cap
Yep.
actually goes underneath this other hose, and you see on top of the bottle that it attaches to, it's got a spot
Yeah.
for that hose to
That
rest
little
in.
valley should.
It gives you a hint. This is where this goes. But worse than all of that is it's empty.
Oh.
You see a low level and a full level. There is no fluid in there. That's bad.
That is bad.
That's bad. There should be fluid in there. So that needs to be addressed.
Oh, there's that.
We're back at the clips that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And you'll see that it's, kind of a shiny, smooth clip.
Yeah.
When it should be that clip, which has got a little green to it. And again, it's decorative. But when you see one side that's got one and one side that's got the other,
It screams.
you know something has been done.
Yep.
And the question is, what?
And why?
And those are just things that, used car people are going to be looking at
Sure.
to try to determine, do I want this car or don't I? And you should be doing the same thing. Because if you're buying it from that person, they're not going to be telling you, hey, these clips are different.
Right.
Looking in through the bumper, through like right underneath the grill area of the bumper, there's a baffle. We call these baffles, and they direct the air.
Okay.
All right, and what you're looking at over here is the AC condenser,
Mm-hmm.
but the baffle's broken. Now, whether it's a new baffle that got broke and just installed broken, or it was part of the damage and not replaced with a new one, you know, this was, I don't know, a $14,000-$15,000 job.
Should be taken care of.
You should not have a broken piece in there. So that needs to be addressed. Now we go to where in the world could some of those clips belong? So that's the wheelhouse. That's the aftermarket wheelhouse that is missing one. This is an undershield for under the bumper. So from the bumper looking up, we're missing a little something there. There's another engine shield in the front of the vehicle. This is not only missing the attaching hardware,
Looks
but
damaged.
it's ripped.
Yeah.
And should have been replaced as well. Again, another shot of another hole that should have a clip in it. It may not, because it doesn't have that clip that we found in the wheel well. You know, what could happen, seeing that's the front of the bumper,
Yeah.
the lower part of the front of the bumper, what are you doing as you're driving forward? The air is running underneath there. It can rattle and get the other clips loose, and next thing you know, the thing is dragging on the ground.
I gotcha.
So it just, what does it take?
Oh, I've seen this picture before.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, and I think we did another video regarding aftermarket parts.
Yeah.
But on this 2022 vehicle with a with under 20,000 miles on it, this shop put an aftermarket AC condenser in it. Things you need to know about that. This car comes with, I believe, a 336, 3 years, 36,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty.
Okay.
May even have an extended warranty added to it. None of those warranties cover this aftermarket AC condenser. So if this AC condenser fails,
They're on their own.
there's no warranty on it from the manufacturer to dealer. In addition to that, if this part were to go bad, something happened to it, and it caused a problem in another system, say the AC compressor,
Yeah.
or the evaporator, or some of the other systems that are tied to this system, those systems would not be covered under warranty either. So why would they put this part in this brand new car that still has warranty? And this shop has an agreement with the insurance company. And again, this one happens to be the Good Neighbor.
Oh.
So this shop and the Good Neighbor have an understanding
I wonder what they're wearing.
that they are to use aftermarket parts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not good for you.
No.
It's not good for you.
That is not like a Good Neighbor.
And the shop doesn't really have a choice in the matter other than not have a partnership with that insurance company. The insurance company is dictating this.
Right.
And the shop is not fighting for the consumer to say that's not going to work.
Yeah. If they were to fight for the consumer, they'd be biting the hand that feeds them,
Exactly.
and therefore it's not good for them.
So we've talked about direct repair arrangements that insurance companies say, here's a list of people to go to one of them. That's what happened in this case. And the shop acquiesced to their real consumer, which is the insurance company, not you, the consumer.
Right.
And put that part in. We would never put a part like that in.
Yeah.
And they're different. You'll see, this picture shows the difference. Here's an aftermarket one and a factory one. There's different amount of rows. There's different attaching points. There's a lot of differences if you look closely at these two things.
Yeah.
Will it work? Probably. Might it fail? It may.
Is it worth the gamble?
But there's no coverage for you.
Yeah.
Other than you'd have to go back to your insurance company in the shop at that point which puts another person into the equation of my air conditioning doesn't work,
Right.
instead of just going to the dealer and have it fixed under warranty.
Yeah.
So this one is probably one of the most concerning things to me.
Okay.
They have on here to recalibrate the front distance radar and to reprogram the airbag system. I don't know who did that. Did they send it to the dealer? Did they have an outside company do it? I don't know who did it. It should be done by the dealer unless the place has the factory equipment, the factory targets to calibrate this thing, the factory scanner to plug the information into the right spots inside the computer of the car,
Right.
to let the computer of the car know where it is and what direction it's pointing, all the rest of that. I don't know that, and I'm not saying it wasn't done correctly or by people that should be doing it.
Right.
I don't know any of that.
What you do know, though, is that all those factory pieces of equipment are very expensive,
Incredibly.
and there's a great number of shops that do not have that.
Most shops do not have that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What?
Most shops do not have it.
Oh.
Most shops don't have it. You would need to go to the dealer, or maybe a certified Mazda place. Maybe their program requires them to have it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But going to the next slide, when we did our pre-scan, because we pre-scan every vehicle that comes in here, just like if you go into the hospital, you're going to get your temperature taken and maybe, your blood pressure, stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
There's certain things that are just going to happen because you showed up.
Right.
We do a pre-scan. In addition to the pre-scan, because that's only a health scan, that tells you if there's codes.
Yeah.
We go into a separate part of the system, which is a steering angle sensor.
Yep.
And here the steering angle sensor has a value of minus 6.6.
What should the value be?
0.
This is very reminiscent of another video that we shared with you, quite possibly one of our most popular videos. I'll put a link to it here as well as down there. It starts with the title, He's Had Enough, and there was a 7-degree angle difference
Yep.
in the steering angle.
The steering angle sensor.
And we like to say that if you left here in Denver and were driving to New York City and there was a minus 6.6 steering angle, you might end up in Miami,
It could happen.
right?
It could happen.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things that rely on the steering angle. Now, I did not look up the Mazda specific protocols for this.
Okay.
I know it's supposed to be 0. It's a 0-point calibration is what they call it.
Right.
So if it were a Toyota or a Lexus, what are some of the things that could be
Connected?
or not functioning if that steering angle sensor is not 0-point calibration? 0. Lane tracing assist system, parking support, brake system, pre-collision system, parking assist monitor system, panoramic view monitor system.
That's a lot of stuff that could go wrong in the event that you don't have a 0-point calibration on your steering angle sensor.
Right, so herein lies the problem. We calibrated it, we don't know who calibrated it or with what equipment,
Yeah.
but we know it was calibrated to a steering angle sensor that is not 0,
Yeah. Just gonna
and that's a problem.
clarify. When you say we calibrated,
Not we.
we saw that somebody had calibrated it, but it didn't get to the 0. Okay, got
So,
it.
I don't believe that is calibrated properly, and this car does have a lane keep assist function.
What if that's off by 6.5 degrees?
You just don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know. You have to follow the steps. And the steps are, you don't do that before you make sure it's in alignment. And part of making sure it's in alignment is we're checking the 0-point calibration on the steering angle sensor.
Sure.
And this is all just the way it works.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of shops out there that don't understand this process.
Right.
And apparently there's some calibration places out there that don't understand this process. And that's a problem for me.
Yeah.
So, just want to go back to the estimate for a second, because it said that reprogram the airbag system. I'm not sure why they did that, but as we've talked about before, we always do a pre-scan on the vehicle and we do a post-scan on the vehicle.
Right.
So they charge for the pre-scan and the post-scan. It was in that prior slide I just showed you.
Right.
But right now it has a system fault, driver side airbag deployment control open circuit. And let's just say that had nothing to do with the accident. I don't know if it did or it didn't.
Okay.
But how could you give that back to a consumer with an airbag fault? Especially when you have on your paperwork that you reprogrammed the airbag system. Clearly something is not right. And I don't care if it has anything to do with the accident or not. There are certain things, if it's got an engine code or whatever, you let the guests know. If it's nothing that's going to get them stuck.
Right.
You let them know, hey, here's some codes we found, that aren't anything to do with the accident.
Right.
But you need to get them addressed. Some of these are more important than others, but if it's an airbag
I'd say
problem,
that's pretty important.
that's got to get fixed before you give it back to the guest, in my world. And
Yeah.
so that's a problem for me also.
That has potentially life and death implications. And, I'm not here to overgrandize
That's not the point.
the thing, but at the same time, if your airbag is not working properly, that's mission critical. That's dangerous.
And the shop got paid to do a pre-scan and a post-scan. You need to impart this knowledge to the guest if there's something that you're giving it back to them and there's unresolved issues.
Right.
Whether they have to do with the accident or not. The guest should be made aware of that, especially when it comes to a driver's side airbag.
Yep.
It's just, it boggles my mind. So
That's a lot of stuff there.
there's nothing mission critical about the repair to this vehicle. It's an industry standard repair. It's what you're going to find in most places. Doesn't mean you should be accepting it.
Yeah.
And how would the consumer know that they're driving around with that, other than sometimes the airbag light comes on, sometimes it goes off. But if you have an airbag light on your car, you need to get that fixed right away, because you're not only talking about yourself, the driver, but passengers that may be in the vehicle.
Right.
That may not be protected should an accident happen, and accidents happen. So we're going to help these people through this. And that's what I got for today. It's that old buyer beware, and be careful of the relationships that take place, in the shops that you choose. If they have a relationship with an insurer, these are the types of things that you can expect. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
They're going to cut corners. They have all sorts of aftermarket parts on this brand new car that is killing the value of that vehicle.
Right.
I even texted a gentleman that I know at AAA that does car sales for them.
Yep.
Purchases and sales, and said, hey, if you saw these stickers, he says, they'd get a lot less money. Why are you losing value?
Right.
Why are you have an insurance policy? They paid to fix your car. It should be put to pre-loss condition. Pre-loss condition didn't have all these Kappa stickers all over.
That's true.
And they did harm to you. And the shop didn't help. So that's what I got for you this week, folks.
Choose your shops wisely, and if you have any questions about any of the things that we've talked about today, please don't hesitate to reach out either in the comments, or here's our phone number. You can give us a call at any time. We're always happy to take your phone calls and answer anything that we can. Make a referral if you are from out of state.
Which we've done many.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
many.
Well, thank you for watching. We appreciate you, my friend. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you. If you found some value in this, please give us the thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. Have an amazing week. I'll see you next Saturday.